early 2000s, a pre-workout took the fitness and sport industry by storm. But it contained a super strong stimulant that would claim many lives in gyms across the globe. And you can still find traces of it today. Okay, so most of my audience knows what a pre-workout is, but for those who don't, it is basically a supplement that you can take before a workout, usually containing citrulline, caffeine, and some other small stimulants that causes you to perform better, and in some cases you get a crazy itch.
Stay in the box now! Get out of my skin!
Think of it like an energy drink, but in a powdered form that usually tastes like shit. Anyways, many people use them before a heavy training session, and some people use pre-workouts every single day, which I think includes most of my subscribers.
When should I expect to feel this? You should text your family, tell them you love them.
And caffeine does have a very strong performance-enhancing benefit with little downsides if used responsibly. But pre-workouts didn't really start booming until the early 2000s, which was around the time when energy drinks also started to become popularized. Before then, yeah, you had athletes taking caffeine, but it definitely wasn't normal for a regular gym goer to chug down a Red Bull or a scoop of pre-workout before hitting a session. And just as with everything, each brand of pre-workout wanted to make their product stronger and better than their competitors. Some upped the dosages of caffeine, some went with better flavor. Some probably gave out Ronnie Coleman's sweat in powdered form, and some went above and beyond and started delving into stronger stimulants. Methylhexanamine, also known as DMAA, was one of those stimulants. Originally produced in 1944 as some sort of nose spray, it got taken off the market in 1983, but it was later reintroduced as a dietary supplement in 2005 during the first boom of the energy drink and legal stimulant market. At first, it was used more like a weight loss supplement because of its ability to curb hunger, but many later realized that, hey, this shit slaps, and quickly took it in as a workout energy supplement. And amongst many other pre-workout products, one sold better than any other: UPS's Jack 3D, or Jacked. And this pre-workout was about to take over the entire fitness world. From the day it released, people who took it reported that it gave them energy like no other stimulant. It was like crack. People were hitting personal records in the gym easily, and some claimed to have a euphoric sensation of focus and tunnel vision after consuming it. But the trend really started picking up some steam, especially in the powerlifting and bodybuilding communities, where having a great pump and feeling strong in the gym is literally essential to succeed, alongside a great tan, of course. But Jack 3D became almost cult-like, because not only was the performance-enhancing aspect on point, but there was something almost addictive about it. And that was when the downsides really started coming to light. Many people reported feeling jittery, nauseous, or very anxious after long periods of taking Jack 3D. Some anecdotal reports even mentioned heart palpitations and bursts of high blood pressure and headaches, basically how you feel after 2 weeks on a dirty bulk. And scientists in the field believe that the high dosages of DMAA and caffeine combined could cause an increased risk of cardiovascular events. In the worst case scenario, heart attacks amongst normally healthy people and athletes, who were, after all, the primary consumers of pre-workouts. At first, most people in the gym and fitness community brushed it off, because after all, these are all very common side effects in most stimulants. And you should be safe if you don't consume it in excess, like a non-specific Greek weightlifter chugging down on a post-workout protein shake. Then the reports started coming in. In 2011, the US military banned the use of Jack 3D after the sudden death of 2 military soldiers who consumed pre-workouts containing DMAA. The cause of death for both soldiers were reported as heart attacks during training, which in the military could mean that soldiers would be dehydrated and malnourished while performing high-end activities for long periods of time. But one of these cases included a 22-year-old guy who simply took the recommended dose of 1 scoop and then went on a jog. And this really started to open people's eyes up, especially high-level athletes who would often put themselves in vulnerable situations, because even though any exercise is technically very good for the cardiovascular system, when you're actually training, you are in fact at a higher risk of events happening, especially if you are severely dehydrated or running low on energy. But again, these were still deemed very extreme cases and outliers, and surely the supplement itself wasn't the driving cause of death. Well, in 2012, the American Food and Drug Administration, also known as the FDA, started investigating the DMAA substance in regards to its safety as a dietary supplement. And they actually found that USP, the company that produced the most popular pre-workout, never actually proved that DMAA was naturally found in plants like they claimed, but that the version they sold was synthetically manufactured in China, which meant that they really had no business selling or marketing it as a dietary supplement, and that the risk of potential mishaps from faulty production was now a serious issue. Now, USP fought back on these claims and said that DMAA came from geranium plants or something, but studies later investigated this and found little to no trace of the substance in extracts from those plants, suggesting that the stimulants they had been selling across the globe were indeed lab-made. And it wasn't long before the next range of mishaps would occur. In 2012, a series of deaths would be linked to the use of DMAA in performance-based settings. The most famous of which was Claire Squires, a 30-year-old woman who died during the London Marathon in 2012 and was found with DMAA in her system. And doctors at the time said that these pre-workouts contained a pharmaceutical-grade product that was being produced for the masses without any regulatory oversight, and that distribution of DMAA through the supplement industry had to stop, especially because it was so easy to get access to. In theory, a 13-year-old boy who just started training could easily walk into his local supplement store and get his hands on a tub of Jack 3D. It was even easier than getting a bunch of Turk across the border. So in 2013, after a lengthy investigation regarding the potential side effects of DMAA in pre-workouts, the FDA asked that all products containing the stimulant would be banned, and the producers were actually charged with fraud and unlawful distribution of dietary supplements. So not only did they have to change their Jack 3D formula, but the producers and a lot of people in the industry received jail sentences and some pretty hefty fines. The Jack 3D product quickly disappeared from the pre-workout market, though a lot of people who knew this was coming actually stocked up on hundreds of boxes, which is why there are still a few more products floating around in underground markets. But how bad was DMAA really? Because it's tough to say for sure if the negative effects would be even more visible in the modern fitness and gym culture. Back then, the supplement industry was only a fraction of what it is now. It was in many ways just a stronger version of caffeine, but ingesting large amounts of DMAA combined with caffeine and then exposing your body to dehydration and heavy training could definitely increase your risk of any cardiovascular mishaps. It's also really tough to say what the long-term consequences of taking pre-workouts with DMAA could be, because after all, it was only on the market for around 6 years. So many from that time period claim that it was unfairly taken off the market on the basis of some deaths in extreme conditions, and that responsibility is essential to avoid getting any of those negative side effects. And honestly, they might be correct that it was taken off the market unfairly. But in another sense, because it was such a strong stimulant, I think it's a good thing that it got taken away before the modern fitness boom we have today, where I'm sure some 17-year-old on TikTok would willingly take 5 scoops just to flex on the internet. But what do you guys think? Did any of you actually try Jack 3D when it was still around? And do you think it was fair to see DMAA taken off the market completely? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching as always, and I will see you all next time.